The Indian River County Chamber of Commerce does not endorse any political candidates. We provide these videos to our community and to our members to offer them the opportunity to be educated as we go into a busy political season. Introducing Keith Touchberry, running for Indian River County Sheriff.
Hello, Indian River County. My name is Keith Touchberry, and I'm running for sheriff. I am a Christian, a husband to my wife Kimberly for 33 years. I am a father of 2 children in their late 20s, both who are also happily married. I am a law enforcement leader with 35 years of experience right here in Indian River County. And I'm also a veteran, the only veteran running for sheriff in Indian River County. As a lifelong leader and a lifelong public servant, I have dedicated myself to serving our community. I have worn a uniform since I was 17 years old, either in service to our nation or this community. As a police chief, I am the longest serving police chief in the history of the city of Fellsmere, at 11 years this September. Prior to that, I spent 25 years working my way up through the ranks at the Vero Beach Police Department when I left as a captain and second in command to become the police chief at the city of Fellsmere. I am very active in many organizations, nonprofits, and law enforcement organizations, not just locally or regionally, but throughout the state of Florida. For example, since 2007, I have been a member of the Florida Police Chiefs Association, and during the 2022-2023 calendar year, I served as that association's president. We are one of the largest law enforcement associations in the United States of America. Very proud of that service. I am very active in legislative affairs. Since I became a member of the Florida Police Chiefs Association's Legislative Committee 5 years ago, I have been responsible for initiating the change to 4 separate statutes, all signed by the governor of the state of Florida. Most recently, the change in how we secure firearms after we arrest people. As a pro-Second Amendment law enforcement leader, I ensure the rights, all constitutional rights of our citizens, and gun rights are absolutely important to me. I feel I am the most qualified candidate to be your sheriff because not only of my experience, but my reputation and my service to this community. I am a servant leader. I graduated from the most prestigious leadership school in the world, the United States Marine Corps, and it was based on servant leadership that I learned the skills and the attributes to set the example, set high but achievable goals for our law enforcement officers, and to ensure that we protect and serve our communities on a daily basis, and provide the services that our communities so richly deserve. The 3 biggest challenges facing the next sheriff of Indian River County: improving the culture of our sheriff's office, improving relationships not just within the community, but with other law enforcement agencies, and crime and social issues. When I talk about the culture of the Indian River County Sheriff's Office, I'm talking about a culture where leadership has been compromised. And when leadership is compromised, decisions about the livelihood of the men and women who work in that organization are not fairly, impartially, and consistently applied. The casualty to this are the men and women of the organization feel less valued. They begin to lose hope. They lack trust in their fellow members of the organization. And when you have this situation, and this can happen in any industry, you're not an effective team. And you begin to focus more inward with yourself and your own needs being met than you do outward in providing the services that the citizens in our county deserve. That is not to say that there are not many quality men and women who work at our sheriff's office. There are, but they are lacking quality leadership. So the first challenge is to provide that quality leadership and to alter that culture. We also have to look at the sheriff's office views the budget. The budget is a living document that guides and governs how they spend money throughout the course of their fiscal year. It has been said in a recent budget message from the county administrator that the past increases to the sheriff's budget and the future request that was made that has now been amended are simply not sustainable moving forward. Simply stated, the sheriff's office has been asking for way too much money for way too long, and it is time that we curtailed the budget spending. It's also time that we thought about giving some money back. Over the past 3 fiscal years, the sheriff's office has had an inordinate amount of vacant funded positions. And when you look at the salary and benefits package for those sworn positions alone, if they were all vacant and funded during those 3 fiscal years, we're looking at an in excess of $5 million not returned to the county. In fiscal year 22 alone, no dollars were returned, and the potential figure that could have been returned was $2.7 million. It begs the question, what is our sheriff's office doing with our money, and how are they spending it? That's one of the first things that we will tackle as your next sheriff. But that is also part of the sheriff's culture that needs to be revised, how they view their budget. As a final aspect to the culture, when morale is low, hope begins to wane, and we then develop recruiting and retention issues. We have a lot of vacant positions over there. During the recent debate, our sheriff stated that they had 6 vacant positions. We knew that figure was not accurate, so we conducted a public records request immediately following that debate, and we learned that in reality, the sheriff's office has 45 vacant positions, 28 of which are in law enforcement. And of those 28, 15 are for entry-level deputy positions. 15 does not equal 6. So I question the numbers that we have been provided, and the numbers I just provided were given to us by the sheriff's office. The second aspect that we need to address is relationships, not only in the community, but also with other law enforcement organizations. The view that many within our sheriff's office have of the community is driven more from a warrior versus a guardian mindset. That means that we don't fully recognize that the vast majority of citizens voluntarily comply with the law. If we did, then we would be more mindful of our responsibilities as guardians, not warriors. While it's true that any traffic stop can result in mayhem, we must be prepared for that. But we must also be mindful that the vast majority of our citizenry does voluntarily comply with the law. If we don't have the proper mindset, it strains our relationships with our community, and we have trust issues. We will also have developed trust issues in other various locations in our community, various different socioeconomic communities that are being underserved and lack trust in our sheriff's office. As a final component to relationships, please understand this. There are very many good men and women at our sheriff's office, but there is an underlying culture among many that your city, as a municipal police officer, your city resides in our county, which means we can go where we want and do what we want when we want. And this results in sheriff's department operations within our municipalities without advanced coordination or even deconflicting. We have seen the service of high-risk search warrants in our cities without first working with our municipal police departments. The best example I can give the voting public is what happened in the city of Sebastian when a citizen called 911 to report men with guns running into a house. This resulted in the Sebastian Police Department dispatching their officers to investigate men with guns running into a house, only to get a phone call from our sheriff's office to say, hey, that's us, we're serving a search warrant. Well, I have a few questions as a law enforcement leader and the chief executive officer of a police department. How do you know the Sebastian Police Department wasn't working that house themselves? Why weren't the officers clothed to where the person calling 911 could immediately recognize them as law enforcement officers? We cannot have blue-on-blue incidents in our county. This is not the way professional law enforcement organizations should interact with one another, and that is one of the reasons why I say we need to improve the relationships with our local law enforcement partners. My final point to this question is fighting crime and dealing with social issues. We are crime fighters, but technology is ever advancing the way that criminals commit crime. We have to be mindful of AI technology first and foremost. We also have to be mindful of those traditional crimes that people commit throughout our community, such as burglaries, thefts, robberies, and so forth. We have to be ever vigilant as a law enforcement organization in partnering with our community because crime is a social problem. We also have to be mindful of the immigration issues that we are having in our country. Our borders have been opened, and our president has issued a very weak executive order on how our immigration officials are to deal with people who are here unlawfully. If they commit crimes in our community, they need to be dealt with at our state level. We are thankful to have had recent laws passed by our governor that further empower local law enforcement in this matter, but we are not immigration officers. We have to have the best relationship with our immigration partners so that when we do detect people who are here unlawfully, who have committed crimes, we do everything in our power to ensure that they are prosecuted, sentenced, serve their time, and then processed for removal so they can go back to their home country. We have enough of our own criminals here locally to deal with, and we do not need criminals coming from outside of our borders. We also have to deal with many social issues that could lead to crime if not properly managed. We have homelessness, and those numbers in our county continue to increase. We also have mental health issues. Mental health is on the rise. We're seeing some alarming statistics among our youth, and we have to understand the origins of these conditions and what we can do as law enforcement to partner within our community to address these issues. Crime is a social problem, and dealing with social issues is also a social problem. Many hands make light work, and we have to work together as a team within our community, not just between government and private enterprise, but also with nonprofits. We need to engage our community from a philanthropic standpoint so we can increase the revenue necessary to deal with the problems that we are all facing, because our ultimate goal as law enforcement officers is to reduce crime and enhance our quality of life. One final point to crime and social issues is the ever-increasing problem that we are having with drugs. With open borders, we have seen fentanyl come across our southern border in rates that we have never seen before. And those drugs are coming into our community. We have to work with our federal partners and our local law enforcement agencies as a team to continue to fight the drug war that we have been fighting for decades. Well, on my first day in office, I'm going to be sworn in, and I'm going to have to coordinate the swearing in of all Sheriff's Office personnel. I anticipate a public swearing in where I'll be able to give some kind words and thank yous to folks and give a brief speech before we get on to the business at hand, and that is running our Sheriff's Office. During that first day, I'm going to issue a multitude of directives. First and foremost, we have to take an inventory of the people's property. We also have to look at the budget, so we're going to have to order an audit of our budget. I'm going to want an update on all unsolved homicides in the county, so we'll have to set an appointment to have those conversations. I'm going to want to look at any contracts that are in place, any unfulfilled purchase orders. I need to know where our money is going and what the expenditure responsibilities are going to be. Because what some folks may not understand is once I take office, we will be 1/4 of the way through the fiscal budget, and we need to make sure that we are on track. Other meetings we need to schedule are with some key players in our community, our chief judge, our chief prosecutor. We need to meet with the union rep. We need to schedule these meetings so that we can have these open and frank conversations about the future of the Sheriff's Office, the direction that we're headed, and the direction that we think we need to head. We also need to schedule meetings with key community leaders, those folks that have a vested interest in the success of our Sheriff's Office. Get them on the schedule so we can sit down and have those conversations and understand how we can work together to reduce crime and enhance our quality of life. Other than that, I'm going to spend my day meeting as many people who work at the Sheriff's Office. As I've said before, there are so many great men and women who work there, and I intend to provide the quality of leadership that they deserve. I'd like to make just a final statement about qualifications for running for this office. A lot of folks may not understand that you do not even have to be a law enforcement officer to run for sheriff. But many people want their sheriff to have experience, but not just experience. They want to understand that they have vision. They want to know what they have achieved in their career, and they want to know how they're going to apply those things to lead the organization into the future. I have 35 years of law enforcement experience, more than any other candidate in Indian River County. I have worked my way up through the ranks, one rank at a time, one challenge at a time, one issue at a time. I have not been politically groomed for this office. We have achieved many things together as a team at the Fellsmere Police Department and throughout my career at the Vero Beach Police Department. As a visionary, I like to see what the problems are and how we can work together to achieve our mutual goals. I have initiated a program at Indian River State College called the Future Educators Response to Emergency Situations. This is a program that has been embedded in an existing class, and this occurred as a result of a conversation I had with a local principal about what we are doing to prepare our future educators for the post-Marjory Stoneman Douglas world they will enter upon graduation. As a result of that conversation and the team that we built to develop this curriculum, we now have a program that is preparing our educators now for what they will face when they get out into the working world. And we are gradually expanding that course throughout the state of Florida. And I'm very proud of our team and the things that we've accomplished in that regard. I also created a program in partnership with a local nonprofit designed to deal with literacy issues in our schools. It's called Cadets and Kids, and it is a program that we can bring to the Indian River County Sheriff's Office so that we can work on improving literacy scores among our youth so that we can ultimately benefit from their education moving forward in Indian River County. Finally, it's important for the voters of Indian River County to understand this. It has been since 2008 that anyone came in to run the Sheriff's Office from the outside of that organization. It's time we lifted up the hood. It's time we cracked open those books. And it's time we took an inventory of the people's property. The next sheriff of Indian River County simply cannot be a part of the current existing culture. We need new vision. We need a true servant leader to be our next sheriff. With my background and vision for the future of policing in Indian River County, I know I am the best candidate to be your sheriff. Please vote for Keith Touchberry on August 20th, 2024.